Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy FrameZ with the Frame Show. You know how we do, bringing that flavor to your ear. Hold up. Somebody bring me a beer. Man, I'm chilling today, man. It's a nice what, Thursday? We about to hit the weekend. It's almost Memorial Day. And I got to come in here and kick it with, man, my dog, man, Batman. What's good with you, bro?
What's up, man? What's up? What's going on? How's everything?
Everything's pretty good, man. Just trying to enjoy the weather, but it keeps seeming to, rainy days is been what it is, but
man, climate change is real, man.
you got that right for sure, yeah. But just jumping in, man, a little introduction about yourself, bro. Where you from, man?
I'm actually from here. I'm from Hampton, VA.
Okay.
Yep.
Shout out to Hampton, man. I spent a little bit of time over there, but I ain't crossed that bridge too much.
Yeah, man. It's a good place to grow up, man. I love Hampton, man. Good place to grow up.
That's what's up, man. Well, we've been, kind of linked up, following each other for a little while now there on Instagram, and I jump on your lives. I try to get on as much as I can, and you always be spitting game, man, and people got to listen.
And man, it's just, I'm just one of those guys where I've been doing this, 16, 17 years now, but I'm one of those guys that started from the very bottom. Right. I started intern, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do in the game. And so I never, was seeking for or seeking or really tried to go after shortcuts or anything like that. And so just learning from the ground up and not skipping any steps, you kind of really learn how everything, with this game, how it works. Right. And I think that was the best way for me to do it. So I know what it feels like to actually get like a W, put a W on the board, you know what I'm saying? And the hard work associated with it. And I know how I got there. So that means that can be replicated. You know what I'm saying? Right. Sometimes you pay for different shortcuts or look for somebody to co-sign you, this, that, and the third. Maybe you do get a hit or you do get a win, and that's cool. But do you know how to recreate that? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. That's important, being able to recreate it.
Yeah.
So a little bit about what you do, man. I know you do, marketing and promotion and branding and you kind of got all the tools, or at least the knowledge. Like you say, you've been doing it for a long time, man. So
So like I said, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. Like I said, I started as an intern for the Def Jam and Atlantic Street Team here in Virginia. A little bit after that, I did that for a few years. A little bit after that, there was a period where I went to California. I joined the military for a little bit. But even when I was in the military in San Diego is where I was stationed, I always wanted to keep my skills sharp. So over there in that period is where I continued to, get my hustle on. So I was hitting club owners in San Diego and telling them, listen, I got a whole street team. I'll put out all your flyers. You know what I'm saying? Give me 500, a month. Give me your boxes and I'll make sure me and my team get to work. And I had like 4 clients out there, that was giving me 500 a month, monthly. You feel me? And I would take those boxes and I would buy myself on the weekends and whatever, just hit cars all around San Diego. You know what I'm saying? And that's really how I learned the lay of the land of San Diego and, really learned what it meant to do it even when you're away from home. You know what I'm saying? How to adapt and network and all that.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew I really, really, really wanted to do it. Because it's one thing to intern, but that's another thing when you don't really have to. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was already getting a check from the military. You feel me? Right. So that's how much I knew. That's how I knew I really, really wanted it. Like I didn't need the money necessarily, but I really just wanted to keep my skills sharp, knowing that I was going to get back to it. And at a certain point, I came back to Virginia. And I got back on the street team to kind of finish that up, get my name worn back out in the street. Right. And then at a certain point, I was hired by Chauncey Black from Blackstreet when he had a solo deal with Busta. He had a solo deal, and so he hired me as at first his street team coordinator, and then eventually I became his marketing coordinator. And that was my first full-time music job where I was getting a salary, and that's how I was making.
Right. That's what's up.
Yeah, and so even during that time, Darknight had been created at this point, and you know, I had a few people on my team, and we were kind of making some noise, and I had kept my relationships with everybody that was kind of over at Def Jam, and they had kind of seen that I was moving and making noise in Virginia, even outside of their system, I think. And so when the opportunity opened up for there to be a Def Jam opening for the Virginia marketing rep, they offered me the job. And so I was the Def Jam Virginia marketing promotions rep for 5 years. So that meant any of the major artists on the Def Jam that had singles or albums coming out, I was responsible for making sure that they got played on radio, sure that they got played in the club. Also, when the artists came to town, if they had meet and greets or radio promo or shows or any of that kind of stuff, me and my team were responsible for making sure all that stuff happened seamlessly. And yeah, man. So doing all of that again and keeping up with doing different things with Darknight. Even under Darknight, we worked with so many independent artists and major artists. We worked with Prodigy, you know, when he was still living on solo stuff. We worked with Corey Guns. We worked with K. Michelle early on. We worked with Wiz Khalifa super early on. We talking about Deal or No Deal mixtape. We talking about Travis Porter. Worked with him. Worked with that group very early on. So you talking about street execs. Worked with 2 Chainz, who I knew from when, you know, he was part of Duffel Bag Boys.
Right.
But when he was solo, I made it my mission to go down to Atlanta and go to Duffel Boy Studios and have a conversation about helping him to break his music as a solo artist in Virginia. And so this is what Darknight became known for, working with artists early that we believed in and helping them to break in Virginia, not only to prove to the indie artists here that they should be working with us, but to prove to major indie artists across the country that when you think of Virginia, you should think of Darknight. Right. And so, you know, that kind of leads into me becoming the coordinator for Virginia for the Hip Hop Caucus, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan social justice organization. And then, you know, moving to present, the area director of the League of Conservation Voters, which is also a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization, but focuses on voter registration. And then, you know, also working with No Malice from the Clips, as a solo artist, and then completely separate from that, now working with Pusha T with his Airwave Music Group label. So, you know, just working, man, just working.
Hey, you definitely working, bro. You've done a lot. Those are not some, you know, small names that you just said that, you know, you've been blessed with at least having the opportunity to be involved with it and get that experience, you know, like, I think it's crazy. Like, even with me, with doing this show, right? Like, I try to just let everything kind of be natural and just stay, you know, I push on things, you know what I'm saying? And like, just try to do what I think is the best. And when things actually happen, it's like, yo, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I was fortunate to.
And listen, man, and not to interrupt you, but salute to you. You know what I'm saying? And everybody that is part of the Frame Show in this platform. I think it's important that we have as many of these kind of platforms out here, internet platforms out here as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't just be people like me behind the scenes. We need to have websites and blogs and podcasts and just other creatives, in addition to just the artists, you know what I'm saying, to kind of continue to amplify the spotlight that's on Virginia, you know what I'm saying, in different ways. So yeah, salute to you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I said when I first started doing this, honestly, I didn't really know what I wanted to exactly do, but I knew I wanted to be involved. I wanted something to do with music. I've always had a passion for music. So just like, then I was like, man, letting the artists come on here and just, you know, tell their story and talk about their stuff, you know what I'm saying? Put their music out. Like, it's not really, to me, there's no better feeling, you know what I mean? And then you get to hear about all these different people and like how they, you know, the way they think or like the way they do things. And there's so many dope artists out here from, you know,
100%. And here's the secret, man. Like, you know, as I'm sure you know, but you know, so many of my peers and colleagues know now, most of us don't know what we do when we first get into the game. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'll tell you, even the secret with me, I mean, it sounds glossy the way I said it, but you know, I've been asked like how I got on like a bunch of times, so I know, you know, the answer. But the truth of the matter is, you know, I was reading books and stuff. I just knew I wanted to be in music, but I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
the key to all of this was, Jay-Z. I know you remember Jay-Z, the Blueprint album.
Sure.
When he came up with the H to the Izzo music video,
right.
if you realize in that video, he's on that float. He's next to Dame Dash on the float.
Right.
What made me really want to get into music is I saw Dame Dash next to Jay-Z, and they both had on Iced Out Rockefeller chains, but Jay-Z was rapping and Dame wasn't.
Right.
So I'm like, whatever Dame does, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
And then that led me saying, oh, he's an executive, but what does an executive mean? Oh, he does, he scouts talent, but he also invests money into the company, into the artist. He helps marketing and branding and strategy. He gets the job done for the company, for the artist, make sure that, everything is taken care of. He pushes the narrative forward and all that kind of stuff. And then figuring out, like, everybody that I looked up to at that point started as interns. Well, how do you get on the street team in Virginia? You know what I'm saying? Everybody that did it, you know what I'm saying, or looked up to, they all in New York. So then figuring out, like, my best friend worked at Legends, the retail store. Well, maybe if I get myself hired at Legends, you know what I'm saying, I'll naturally just bump into one of these street team guys because they always putting CDs and flyers on the counter. You know what I'm saying? So that was, I don't know where that thinking came from, but something in me was like, just a little play I'm going to put together. And then it took a couple months, but I ended up running into the guy, and then everything takes off from there. But, without me, scrambling and trying to figure it out at first and not knowing, but really wanting it, you know what I'm saying? Like, where does it go from there? You know what I'm saying? So the passion and wanting to get in it and dive all the way in is, that's essential.
Right, for sure, yeah. No, it's so crazy to think about it. Like, just coming from nothing or not even having the thought or the idea, and then kind of coming up with something, that light bulb goes off, and it's like, let me try this. I always tell my guys, like, everything is almost like trial and error. You know what I mean? You never know that it don't work if you don't ever try it. And some things would be like, if you say it out loud, you're like, okay, no, that ain't no good. But I try to do everything that I feel like is positive. You know what I mean? And like, if I feel like it's positive, let's try it. And if it works, great. If it don't, we'll move on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? So,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So, a question for you to give to the artist, man. What do you think is, like, I know you've talked about this a lot on your lives and stuff. When it comes to, like, artists trying to brand themselves,
right?
What do you think is the most important thing they could do?
Well, one, as an artist, you have to understand, like, innately who you are. Right. I think a lot of artists know that they want to rap and feel like they have something to say, and then acting that idea. But I think music, because there is no application, like, there's no board, there's no application, there's no kind of vetting process to rap. You can roll out of bed one morning and just hop into it, right? And that's unlike any other major profession where you would be making money. Right. And so because of that, there's no etiquette to how you should actually be moving, especially when you first start out. And so one of the things that, and I'm glad you asked that question, is before you really start moving around and making any kind of mistakes, or even if you're winning, right, before you do anything, make sure you have the hard conversation with yourself. Why am I doing this, one? And who am I as a person first? And then who do I want to be as an artist? Because the marketing, the branding and the marketing will come from there. Authenticity and who you are will carry you a long way, but you got to be clear on who you are first. And if you take, let's say, a blank sheet of paper and you sit down and try to describe who you are, and you're having a hard time even writing it down for yourself, that means how would you be able to explain it to anybody else? Okay. And so you got to start there. Like, who am I? And really bullet pointing out, well, I'm athletic, I'm passionate about music, I care about my community, this, that, and the third. And from those bullet points, you can start to flesh out, the kind of artist that you may want to be. You should be able to extrapolate it from your music, and it sounds a lot easier than what it is. But how many artists do you know who are out here moving around where they're in a vicious cycle of releasing a record, releasing a music video, releasing another record, releasing a music video? And then you can see all of that, right, scrolling down your timeline and still not really know who the artist is. Right. Yeah. That's why branding is so incredibly important, and that's why marketing is so important. That's why I know I always have a job, because even just that simple part can be critical. Like, do you have a logo? And if you have a logo, do you have a logo that truly expresses who you are as an artist? Something as small as that doesn't seem like a big deal when you're just talking about, I mean, it's a logo. How big is it? But when you're talking about, if you get to the point of booking shows, well, if they got different graphic designers and you don't have your own logo and you're not making them put this logo on every flyer, they will put your name in every kind of font that is not what you want.
Right, exactly.
And will not care.
Right. I've seen that happen firsthand.
Somebody, if somebody's all, they're not going to be able to, you know, connect all the dots. Like, oh, okay, like he's really moving. Like they may care, but it's like, you know, if you don't, you know, have some quality control, right, over how your brand is handled, how you look in these photo shoots. If you don't have an idea of how you want to be envisioned in these photo shoots, how you want to look in these music videos, if you hadn't sat down and tried to figure out what the overall branding and marketing around yourself should be or is going to be, then, you know, you might be doing a lot of spending money and or wasting time.
Right. Yeah. Something that one of the very first interviews I ever did was with a DJ Derek Jeter out of North Carolina.
Okay.
And he, one thing he said that's kind of stuck with me for till now, I mean, still sticks with me, is consumers eat with their eyes. So if you can't put out, you know, a professional look, a professional, you know, something that is going to catch somebody's attention from seeing it, it's going to be hard for them to go back and spend money on you, or like really want to go back and find you or do anything.
100%. I mean, there, you know, especially like where we're at now, like we're in this weird gray area kind of a situation where there's so many people at home, right?
Right.
What I've been telling everybody around me is, you know, this is the perfect time. There are so many captive, right, people at home that can't really go anywhere safely. So there's never been a point in modern human history where you've had this many people potentially on their phone as a captive audience. Right. So it's like even more important, not only that your graphics are up to par and you actually care about that kind of thing, but your content is thoughtful and then well executed, fleshed out and then well executed.
Right.
If you're scrolling down your timeline and you can't make or create something that would make somebody else slow down and stop on your content to view it and to see what you got going on, then you may need to go back to the drawing board. You know what I'm saying? Like we are definitely there where there will be some stars created, I think, and there will be some people that maybe have gotten it wrong in the past that get their thing together now and move forward in a good direction because of great content. I mean, and a good example is just look what happened with the new record that Joyner Lucas just put out. Look, everything that happened because he put that record.
Right.
And that's nothing that, you know, money-wise or anything that would get past any indie artist for real. You know what I'm saying? Like there are things you can do on your level if you understand what a quality videographer is and can do for you, who and what a good graphic designer can do for you, and then just having a good vision. You know what I'm saying? And maybe even a couple of people on your team to help you execute that vision. But there's not too many things that a major label can do that can't be replicated at some point on a smaller scale by indie. And indie artists got to start understanding that they don't have to settle, right? And I think settle is the key word. They don't have to settle for mediocre graphics and mediocre storylines in these music videos or mediocre setups for these music. We know you can do the video in front of the fire hydrant on the corner. Like, come up with a song, my G. Like, let's figure something out that will make me stop and really get into your world. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard. It's, you know, having passion in what you're doing and then taking some cues from people who you've seen do it right. Like Russ exists. Nipsey Hussle exists. You know what I'm saying? Chance the Rapper exists. There are all these creative people that have done things on big scales and smaller scales to grab our attention. And like I said, a lot of that stuff can be done on a smaller, more manageable scale within your budget. You just have to have the creativity and then have the people around you that can help you execute it.
Right. I think a big thing there you said is creativity. You know, let your mind be creative. You know, use that. I mean, you're already as an artist, you're already somewhat creative, even if you don't feel like you are. You know, you're somewhat creative because you write, you listen, you find the music. Like, so like I told myself like during this quarantine that, you know, I would hone in on that and find out like what I can really, you know, come up with. I've been working on a lot of things that I ain't put out yet, but
Yeah.
it's so much that artists or anybody, regular people can do.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to have, okay, maybe with the major label, you're not gonna be able to instantly have your stuff everywhere as soon as it drops. But you can do so much that, you know, some people just see past that and don't think that they're like, oh, I can't get to that level. You know?
Listen, man, and you know, and I hope that, you know, that your whole entire audience, you know, if they take nothing away, they hear this point that I'm about to say, because I think this is key.
Right.
The thing is, you know, we have, and this is assuming that the quality of their product, music wise, is where it needs to be, right?
Right.
The business that you're actually in as an indie artist is the acquisition of new fans.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think that's the part that gets lost in translation. It's a lot of, man, if I could only pay for this feature, this is gonna put me on.
Right.
If I can get this DJ to co-sign me, that's gonna put me on. If I can open for this artist that's coming to my city and I pay this bread to open, that's gonna put me on, and we're gonna be out of here. There is no silver bullet. You know what I'm saying?
No. Right.
What you can do, right, is as you're continuing to improve and come up with this amazing music, you can put yourself in the mindset of figuring out, if I can only figure out how to acquire 1,000 fans, in the aspect of making them real fans, not fans where you just calling a bunch of people fans, but fans like to the point that where they're loyal, to where if you have a tape or whatever it is, they're willing to spend $5-10 with you. If you have a hoodie or a t-shirt, they're willing to spend $15-20 with you. If you get 1,000 fans that do that, now you're talking about, you know, 10 times 1,000. You know what I'm saying? That's $10,000. You feel me? That's nothing to sneeze at. That's not 100,000, but that's a start.
Hey, that's a budget right there for sure.
And that's a budget. And if you can get into a cycle of your fans being loyal enough that not only are they willing to spend money, but if they're willing to spend money, they will share your stuff too. Right. Meaning they will repost your song, they will repost your video, and then you still be in the mindset. All of this is fan acquisition. Right. If you can get 500 to 1,000, if you can get from 1,000 to 1,500, if you can get from 1,500 to 2,000, right, consistently, that shows not only that you are growing, but that your budget would happen to be growing, which means the money that you're making, if you reinvest it, that means every time you come out with a new project, it should be a little bit better if you're reinvesting something back into the mix, the master, you doing your own show versus being on somebody else's show. Better merch, right? A promo tour. So instead of just going around the 757, you do a East Coast promo tour. Like, you can put these are things that can actually be put together in a realistic time frame if everybody around you is smart and you're smart and you read the books, you read the interviews, you know, you do all of the research and studying, and that's another piece. So it's fan acquisition, but it's not enough studying the business that you're in. That's key. That's key. Again, you don't have to apply to be a rapper or an artist. So I think that gets left out. So and I'm sure you've heard it a bunch of times when artists are saying, man, I don't mess with that because it's too many politics. Or you hear artists saying, the other one I hear is, man, bad. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors. All of that is keywords for, I don't know the game or how the game works or the game players, right? Or I don't have knowledge to maneuver through the obstacles and challenges that I have in front of me.
Yep.
And the answer to all of that is knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I have people that'll call me and ask me to link them with whoever it is. I don't normally do that because, again, I even would look at that as a cheat code if you don't know what to do with that relationship.
Right.
What does it do mean to put you in front of an A&R when I'm not sure if you would know what to say to that person?
Right.
Or let's say you're really good at networking and you can hold a conversation. The first thing that any major label, and this is what your audience should definitely also understand, is they are stat and metric driven. So if you are able to get yourself into a situation where you're having a meeting with an A&R or a label, And then they start asking you the hard questions. Well, what are your hard ticket sales looking like? You know, what are you looking like as far as your social media awareness? You know what I'm saying? What kind of numbers are you putting up? What are you looking like as far as traffic to your website? Or what are your merch sales? Or what are your streams looking like? The amount of playlit, like what are we, when they start asking you questions where the answer would be hard numbers,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And you don't either you don't have the answers, or your numbers are lower than what they're looking for. You don't have no leverage to negotiate nothing, and
right.
you probably get any kind of offer. So
Right.
you got to understand that all of this boils down to fan acquisition, right? And being able to put up some kind of hard numbers, and that's spins, that's streams,
Yeah.
that's merch, that's web traffic, social media awareness, and and human interaction face to face. All that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
works and helps in your case. And here's the thing: what we do at Dark Knight is we always say that our goal is not to get you to the point to where you're signing to a major label. Our actual goal is to get you to where you get to the fork in the road so you can actually choose. Do I want to go and sit down and have this meeting? Or, man, we done figured this out ourselves. We have our own ecosystem.
Exactly.
Where every time we put out a project, we're going to make money off the music. We're going to do our own shows. We're going to do merch. We're going to do all of this kind of stuff. And we are generating our own money. So that means as an artist, you the leader, you are able to now pay your people around you as employees. And you can, again, reinvest a little bit, do the promo tours, and keep getting bigger every time. And now you have something that can pay your bills. But you got to get there first. Yeah. And what supersedes everything, what supersedes DJs and A&Rs and creatives like me and whoever else, what supersedes everything is a strong and loyal fan base. Because your fan base are your customers and consumers.
Yep.
Period.
Exactly. Yeah. I had a conversation with my partner the other day. He's down in Pensacola, Florida, right? And he was at this coffee shop, and he was like, this girl was in there. She was listening to a podcast. So he was like, kind of being nosy, you know what I mean? But they was just chit chatting and stuff, and he starts talking to her about it, and he's like, he's like, hey, well, check this out. And he starts playing one of our interviews, and she was like, wow, like this is cool, you know what I mean? Like it was something different that she had never really been introduced to before, you know what I'm saying? So then, letting her hear it and all that, like now he's made a personal connection with her because they face to face, like doing that. And now she's become, a true fan. Like she checks out every Tuesday, wanting to see what's coming out next, So that it's so crazy to me. Like that's so important. Like just to get people like that it's the random people that you meet that like you. To me, it's like, oh man, now they feel with joy. They get a big smile on their face. Like it just it's fulfilling. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And I think that's another piece to it too. So it's the things that we discussed, but it is also, I believe there is an art to being able to properly network. And I don't always think that people have the awareness to understand when they're coming across too passive when they're trying to get their point across, or when they're across too aggressive when they're trying to get something. Like sometimes somebody will meet somebody of influence and try to lock in everything in the 1 45-second minute conversation. And so, and that's not to be done. It rarely ever happens where I'm gonna run up on whoever the A&R or artist is, and and get them to commit to signing me as an artist and all of that off of the meet up on the street. Like it's not gonna happen.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And so there is something that, having a little bit of finesse and a little bit of nuance in your conversation where, you leave an impression, but you're not full court pressing them, because that ain't going to really help your case either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So understand the process of introducing yourself, letting them know what you're about, what you've done a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And then, giving them, whether it's a card or, exchanging contact information, backing off, right? Giving it a few days, and then the clincher, the follow-up, knowing how to follow up through an email or text properly. I think there is nuance. Like I said, there's nuance and there's a little bit of finessing going on in that. And you got to have the ability to do that. And I think that's something that should be practiced, because from what I see sometimes, not all the time, some people are really good at it. What I do see sometimes is, like I said, just that lack of awareness. Either you too passive, like you too cool, like you don't want to seem like you thirsty, which, I mean, I get it, you know what I'm saying? Or you coming off too aggressive, like you're trying to make something happen, and if it can't happen now, it ain't gonna happen. Only got one shot.
Right.
I get it, you know what I'm saying? But you know, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, even if that person doesn't react the way that you want in the moment, if you're doing what you need to do online and around the city and whatever, and you've left a good enough impression, even if you don't get the response or reaction that you want from that interaction initially, then they'll hear your name or see your name again, right? And I think so. The goal should ultimately be to leave an impression strong enough so when they see or hear your name again, that's the guy that was trying to tell you know, he hope that he know what you do. Like, it's got to be that. It's a lot of consistency, and that's going back to your other point of branding. So branding, part of it is, you know, visually what it looks like, right? But branding is having some consistency in what you're doing, enough for people to experience and hear and see you in different forms and formats, right? And so they're able to understand that, oh, what he was saying was not just an act. Like, he really is out here working. He seems to be working hard, because I heard his record on the radio. I seen his poster up over there. I seen a girl wearing a T-shirt. He's on this show I'm at right now. Man, I might need to do some business with him.
Right.
But if you don't have an air of consistency and professionalism, and you know, a feeling of you're the next thing, if that energy isn't in the air, and you can usually feel it if somebody's like going crazy in the city, going crazy regionally, or going crazy on social media. You can usually feel when it's authentic, when it's, you know, a campaign versus a flash in the pan. You know, but that's something that can be worked upon. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that can be coached up if you're willing to put in the effort. So you can't be half-assed with it either. Like, this is a serious thing that can change people's lives. So, you know, I don't really play around with it, and I encourage people to not play around with it either. Don't be half in and half out. Like, you got to be all for it if you're gonna do it.
Right, for sure. So quick question, when it comes to, I talked to a couple guys, we talked about like pushing their music, right? Getting their music out in the social media sense, right?
Okay.
So I got a lot of people that always flood my inbox with every time they have a new post, send it into my inbox, you know what I mean? So me personally, and it's my personal opinion, some people might not like it, I cannot stand that. Like, it's like, I know I seen your post, you know, tag me in a post or something, you know, let me come see it. You know, when I get that same post, you flood my inbox, yo, go run this up for me. Like, what do you think about that? Like, you know, I mean, I see two sides of it, but it's like, yo, y'all got to stop, man. Like,
yes, my stance is always, it is nobody's responsibility, right? For you or your brand to get bigger, more so than you and your team. Anybody else that wants to put energy into what you're doing, it's totally up to them. But it can be a thing of you're depending on anybody to make your thing bigger. The energy for what you're doing initially has to come from you. And again, this is what we talk about: presentation and consistency and branding. It really all flows together. Yep. What you're trying to do is, again, create your own ecosystem. But when you're trying to build this thing, I say it's, you know, you create the energy, and then you want the energy to flow into momentum, right? Or to turn into momentum if you're doing it consistently enough. And if you're consistent enough in what it is you're doing, then the opportunity will start coming back to you. But you got to get to a point of being consistent enough with the product and thoughtful enough in the execution of the rollout that is able to make an effective impact. And when we're talking about rollout, that's when you start talking about what are we going to do to cater to the club DJs? How are we attacking the radio DJs and to get them on our side? How are we, you know, corresponding with creatives, the program directors, the promoters, our fellow artists, songwriters, again, most importantly, the fans, bloggers and writers and all that kind of stuff. These are all different bullet points that you should be figuring out. When people do stuff where they just flood somebody like your inbox, because I get it too, by the way. I definitely
I'm sure,
that a lot of that is lack of not knowing how to plan out, right? how to plan this thing out effectively where you're hitting all of or checking all the boxes.
Right.
And you got to really look at it. I look at it as like it's a big puzzle. And for me to get everybody to my party, right, I got to make sure I invite them the right way. And sometimes when you're sending out that invite, certain people need certain things. So little things like understanding that every DJ is not the same kind of DJ, right? So there are DJs that pride themselves in breaking records, and there are some DJs where they already got the set in their head. They're not really looking for any new music, and so don't bother them. Like maybe they will play it, but then there's a time and a place for that too, right? And then there's there's DJs where there's never going to be a time. They're gonna get the new records that they end up playing through their other DJ homies. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And so knowing that, that's something that I had to learn early on. But you only learn that kind of stuff when you do your due diligence and you research your craft. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna forever be a student of the game. I feel like I'm real nice at what I do, but I always try to make sure I'm studying every aspect of this thing, making sure to understand how playlists work and how they can be effective with streams, making sure I understand a little bit of videography and how, I'll tell you this. If I get a good videographer and I get a box and an artist, I can create a dope music video out of just having the artist in a box, a cardboard box, and a dope videographer.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I understand creatively how important a videographer is and how a good videographer can pull the best out of an artist and their surroundings and that lens. Right. You know what I'm saying? So understanding creatively how that works, and also understanding how psychology works with the masses. So if you're trying to get people to join your movement, how do you talk to them? How do you create that messaging and do all that kind of stuff? You know what I'm saying? So these are all parts of what should be a bigger play, but you got to want to invest in wanting to learn and wanting to conquer all of those different aspects of being in this business.
Yeah. There's so much to it, man. There's so much. We've talked, and the little bit that we've talked, it's like we just hit the tip of it. You know what I mean? Because it's like there's so much that I don't know that everybody really understands that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is surface stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that this isn't going to be the longest interview ever, right? But I also appreciate every time I'm given the opportunity to speak. And I understand that people do look for me for clarity sometimes. That's definitely what my company does. Right. So I want to make sure that anytime I'm on the radio or, I'm on a show like yours or anybody's blog or anything like that, that I try to pique interest, right? Not only in my company, but to give them something to think about that they may not have been thinking about. Or maybe they were thinking about it, but just maybe on a more simplistic level, just to get them to understand. It's a lot more to it. Just like you said, it's a lot more to it than you may originally be thinking. And, I just want them to be there with it. You know what I'm saying? Creatively, with the thought process. There's more to it.
Sometimes I think, and it goes, so I'll go to like my kids. I got 2 kids. My oldest son plays baseball. Mm-hmm. I can tell him something all day, right, about something he's doing wrong or something in baseball. And he won't listen. As soon as, one of the coaches or somebody says it though, it clicks. So sometimes I think as with what I do is I could explain something to somebody so many times and it just won't click with them. And then I can have somebody like you come on and you can explain it basically the same thing I said, but maybe you explain it a little bit different or, you have another twist on it. And then that clicks with that person. Like, okay, that's what he was saying. Like,
hey man, whatever works. You know what I'm saying? Right. And by the way, it trickles all the way down. So I got homies that are my OGs, right? You know what I'm saying? That give me advice and all that kind of stuff. And but I'll constantly pick people's brain. That's the thing about me. I don't have any shame when it comes to learning.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things. One of the things why I feel like I've been successful in however you want to view that is my work ethic. I don't like to be outworked. And I actually love what I do, so I don't mind working because I've been on the other side. Like, not many people can say that they've woken up on tour, you know what I'm saying, on a major national tour and gotten paid for it. I'm in that class. So I think that it's probably less than a couple thousand people in Virginia that ever had that experience. I'm one of them. I know that for a fact. You know what I'm saying? So when you've seen over the mountaintop and you've been able to actually make money off of music in a real way, makes you want to share that information too. If you're, if you're authentic and really want to put a spotlight on Virginia, and every time I've ever been able to, whatever it is, be on radio or work with major artists that I know other people adore and celebrate, or be on tours or get a plaque, or work with people's favorite art, any of that kind of stuff. Like, I just want to trickle that information back down. Like, listen, I'm from Hampton, Virginia. I'm not from New York. Right. Nobody a secret black book with everybody's contact in it. Nobody gave me, emailed me a secret list or nothing like that. I'm from Hampton, VA. So exactly what I told you is really that. It ain't too much more. Everything else that I left out of the story is me hustling, like me spending my own money to go to New York or Atlanta or Florida and building, cold calling and building with different artists and building that relationship. Artists giving me a chance and me showing improving. You know what I'm saying? Labels let me show improve, and then being like, man, that was worth it. Let's get this guy a check. Like, he knows what he's talking about, kind of stuff. Right. That's me, hustling. Me figuring it out and me being a man of my word and moving with some integrity. When you do that kind of stuff, when people can see that, oh, I can make some money with him, or he got some contacts and some resources I don't have, and you make yourself, useful to their situation, then they'll use you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Using somebody shouldn't be an awful thing if you understand that there's value in what you're doing, and you understand how to negotiate, for this, for what I have and what I can give to you. Then let's, figure out how to break down some money together so you can get what you need and I can get what I need. But for me to be charging anybody, again, I had to be a student of the game. Right. I had to study, I had to do it for free, and I had to love the work. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about when people are asleep 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I used to stay up. You know what I'm saying? Lose a lot of sleep. Used to do those promo runs with artists as an intern, miss out on meals. You know what I'm saying? All that kind of stuff. But that was like the love of it. Go to Atlanta and try to link up with 4 or 5 artists with $150 and try to make, every dollar stretch just for the opportunity to be in different studios and to make it happen. So I come back with hopefully a few different contacts that nobody else here had. Right. But that's loving and having the passion for what it was I was doing, and really just wanting more and better for myself and those around me. That's all. Yeah, it's very much possible. You just gotta, get off the ass and really want it. That's all.
Right. Shout out to you, bro, because you definitely been working, man. You can, just from talking to you, you can hear it, man. You can, even if somebody don't know who you are, never seen anything, just listening to this conversation, like, you definitely got that. You got that work ethic, and not a lot of people do. You know what I mean? So.
Hey, man, and it's a lot of people out here now that are moving around, I think, in a good direction. You know what I'm saying? We got the young crazies and the Alonzo Jacksons and the Traptastic guys and you know what I'm saying? We got a lot of those guys out here now, the Era Hardaways and the Lecraes, and we got Utopia Finney, and you know what I'm saying? We got Poetry Jackson. We got all of these people that do different things with, the creatives, in front of the camera or behind, you know what I'm saying? These engineers, these producers. It's super important that is continued to be encouraged. And while I'm here, I'm gonna continue to be around at different events. I'm gonna continue to help different artists, you know what I'm saying, wherever I can, especially the indie artists. And I feel like anything that I could help a major artist with, like I'm working with Pusha T, then I gotta make myself available to, to still contribute to what's happening on the indie scene, because that's the only way that the spotlight, like I said, is gonna land on, you know what I'm saying? So that's important to me.
So real quick, man, we getting to the end of this. I'm surprised that Zoom has not cut us off. So shout out to Zoom. They need to get that sponsorship. That'd be nice.
Hey. Shout out to that's what we hear.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Do you have a favorite artist out here, local artist?
Artist on the indie scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm working with an artist named Terrell Online. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna work with anybody who wouldn't be one of my favorites. So Terrell Online. Okay. I'm also doing some stuff with Era Hardaway. So he's definitely one of my favorites. But I also got some guys who I don't work with who are still my guys. So, my guy, Young Crazy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My guy up in Richmond, his name is Fatso. Really, really dope guy. There's a girl up in Richmond, her name is Jimmy J. I think she's super dope. My guy, Tyler Donovan, dope singer, songwriter, rapper, you know what I'm saying? Right. There's a lot of people that I'm messing with. Producers, Mike Waves, producers, High Def Raja, my guy Kino Beats, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. it's so many. Andrew Heights, you know what I'm saying, a producer DJ that I'm working with, you know what I'm saying, it's been my guy for a minute, helping him with some brand management stuff.
Right.
I think I said Lecrae earlier.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. It's a lot. It's a lot of artists out here,
It's
man.
crazy because I love asking that question because like
3 days, Scoozy. 3 days, Scoozy. You know what I'm saying? Breeze Park. You know what I'm saying? You know, Ty and Cam and Ryan, all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Some of the names that you named, I definitely have heard of them. Definitely, you know, done checked them out. But some of the names I haven't, and that's why I love that question because now it's like, okay, now I can go. I got new people I can go check out, man. Listen to the music, see what they got going on. Like,
listen,
I'm a fan. You know,
business. I'm making my business. I consider myself like a VA ambassador to a certain extent,
right.
and so, you know, I know I'm representing Virginia. You know, when I'm working with, like I said, major artists and major labels, and so, you know, on the other end of that, I want to make sure that I continue to be connected. So I want to make sure that I know who's moving up in Richmond, but also who's continuing to make some noise down here. And like I said, encourage them where I can. And if it's just popping up at somebody's event, I'm going to do that as much as it makes sense for me to. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
That's important.
Well, hopefully here soon, you know, COVID-19 will be no more and, you know, we can start having some little events and get back out, man, because I miss it. I ain't gonna lie.
Listen, man, again, here's another key. Right now, where everything is up in the air, this is as level a playing field as there has ever been in the music business. So indie artists are on the same exact level as these major record label artists because the major record label artists, these film houses, these studios, they still trying to figure it out too. You can tell. Rolling
at home.
None of this is rolling out smooth. So this is the time to figure out how can I galvanize an audience online through social media. Like, figure it out. You better get some good, you know, some good content pieces, some good live ideas, whatever it is. Figure it out now.
Right, for sure.
Come out of it better. Come out of it better. Fan acquisition, like I said, fan acquisition is a key.
Right. Well, look, man, we're going to get ready to check out of here, man. I appreciate you coming on the show and having this conversation with me. I could sit here probably talk to you for hours.
Hey, man.
This is the stuff I like to talk about, so.
Whenever you want to catch up, man, salute to you, salute to the frame show. Like I said, I like the platform. I want to be on here. You know what I'm saying? So respect you for creating it. Whenever you want to have me back, man, let's do it again. I'm sure we got a lot to talk about. So, you know, let's catch up.
Yeah, man, and you know, as soon as we can can link up, man. We ain't nothing but it's nothing but a bridge. You know what I'm saying? So,
like I said, whenever you're ready, you know what I'm saying. Just let's lock it in on the calendar, and we can check in as often, or you know what I'm saying, as you want to, man. I'm always here to spread the knowledge and connect. Make sure everybody knows what's going on out here.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, real quick before we leave, man, tell everybody how they can find you, bro.
Yeah, man. So, you know, Instagram is probably the best way. My Instagram is Darknightent. And like I said, my name is Batman. I'm the CEO of Darknightent. So that is my company, music marketing and branding and promotions and strategy company. So IG is Darknightent, all one word, 1K. My direct cell number, if you have an inquiry or something like that, is 757-576-7783. You know what I'm saying? Everybody normally gets a kick out of that. You know what I'm saying? I put my number out there.
Right.
Listen, I'm different. I'm a different breed. I'm going to tell you, I've had the same number for like 16, 17 years, man. So all that should tell anybody listening is I'm not ducking nobody. Right. I ain't dodging nobody. I do good business. If you ask about me, my name good out here, from the radio stations to the most hood club out here. And ain't too many people ain't heard of Batman on some level. And if you don't know, then somebody around you know who I am.
Right, for sure.
Straight up.
Well, that's what's up, man. Like I said, I really appreciate you coming through, man. Big shout out to you. If there's anything you need, you know what I mean, don't hesitate to hit me up. I do what I can to help you out. And shoot, man, we here, bro. We're gonna have a lot more of this in the future. There's a lot more to come. So
yeah, man. Let's put it together. Let's put together a panel or something. Let's get it together. Whatever you're trying to do, man. I'll be back. Hit me up.
That's what's up. All right, bro. Like, everybody, make sure you go check out Batman, man. Darknightent. All you artists out there, make sure you tune in. Check this out, man. There's some knowledge out here, so get with it. And until next time, man, we'll be here.
VA.
Peace, bro.